Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be building a cafe or a tea house kind of inspired by Alice in Wonderland. It's more so going to be inspired by, I want to say, Alice, the Mad Hatter, and the furry friends, instead of like the Queen of Hearts and so on. Just because when I originally started with this build, I was kind of gearing towards Queen of Hearts, but that's an aesthetic that I think I would be more comfortable with, and I kind of wanted to challenge myself a little bit. And I was inspired by the new playroom kit that we got, and I wanted to incorporate a lot of those items, and I really like the colorful ones, not necessarily the black and red swatches of the playroom kit. So I wanted to do something a little bit more colorful and fun, and also there's a lot of little symbols and knickknacks and stuff that I included from the animation kind of, and then also the first live action movie for Alice in Wonderland. It's one of my favorite movies, and I haven't watched it in a while, but I watched it like in preparation for this video, and then I also watched it just before recording this because I wanted to check if there was anything that I missed that I wanted to incorporate into the build. But I did that after filming my whole building process, so there's a lot of things that I added afterwards that if you download this build, you'll go in and see, and maybe you can comment down below how many little Alice in Wonderland knickknacks, symbols, or whatever you want to call it, you picked up. And yeah, so for the outside, I was watching the movie, and I'm more so basing it on the live action version of the movie. And so when they are in the outside areas, you'll see that it's very barren and there's not a lot around. So I didn't have a visual for what I wanted the outside of the building to look. So I went on Pinterest, and if you have been on Pinterest recently, you would know that it is overrun with AI. It is crazy. So if you do have other app suggestions that are like Pinterest, please let me know. I even searched on Google, and Google wasn't really giving me a lot of help. But I guess this concept is kind of niche. No one is really building in real life, at least, a cafe inspired by Alice in Wonderland. I don't think. I found a lot of interior photos for inspiration for this build, but not a lot on the outside. So I was going through Pinterest, and then this one AI image did catch my kind of attention, and it kind of got stuck in my brain. So unfortunately, it is inspired a little bit by that, but I just really want to find an app where it's not only AI that I'm seeing. Like, I want some real illustrations to be inspired by. So if you do know of another app that I can use, please let me know, because I just don't think Pinterest is very helpful anymore, at least to me, especially because I like doing builds like this that are kind of, there are no real life examples for them, so you kind of need to go off of someone who's either creatively drawing them or designing them or whatever. And just right now, I don't even know if those people's content are being seen on Pinterest, because it's just so badly overrun with AI. And then I know that I've been gone for a minute. I last posted in October. A lot has happened since then. I'm a little bit like Alice at the moment, falling down the hole, stuck somewhere between the entrance and then the exit, I'm stuck there. And so I first stopped playing the game because I just felt like I didn't really want to play the game. I didn't feel like I should be playing the game for some other reasons. And then also, around the time that I stopped posting in October, I think we got that big buyout announcement, which was kind of gross. And then what makes it even more gross is this whole marketplace announcement that came out a few days. My dogs are barking, so if you hear that, I'm so sorry. But the marketplace announcement like really got to me, because I came from The Sims 4 free play, or not The Sims 4 free play, The Sims free play, which is the mobile game or the mobile version of The Sims. And if you've ever played that game, you would know that it's like a haven of microtransactions. It's really difficult to have a good gaming experience without spending your real money on, in-game currency. So when I came to The Sims 4, I was so relieved and happy to find out that there was no such thing as an in-game currency. And now we kind of having an in-game currency, and I know that in their blog post they said that they have no plans for the future to, introduce anything like life points and social points which you would have in, in the Sims free play. But still, I still feel like a little uneasy about it. Like, yeah, so this is actually the last kit that I'll most likely buy, because I'm not gonna be spending my money on that moolah nonsense to buy any more kits. And I heard that the kits will also be on the marketplace, so unless there is something, no, I don't even want to put that thought in my mind that I would be willing to spend my money on moolah. So yeah, I don't like the idea. I don't like anything that's been happening. And the funny thing is, oh, it's not funny, but the hard part about it is I feel like the announcements and all of the crappy things that have been happening in The Sims has come at a time when I've needed the game the most. And so that's basically why I stopped playing, just like the feeling around it, and then also just other feelings as well, where I felt like I shouldn't be playing games, I should be focusing on other things in life. But I feel like I was more so punishing myself, and I shouldn't have done that. But anyways, I am back now. I am playing because I cannot ignore how much happiness it brings me to just build these silly like little builds, so, or make my silly little sims and sometimes do my silly little gameplay. So I wanted to come back, and also I just spent a lot of money on this game to be able to play it and to be able to make content on it. So I refuse to let all my hard-earned money go to waste. So I'm going to be playing it, but I wanted some feedback on, I obviously don't want to be encouraging people really to buy packs, and I feel like if you want my builds, you would most likely need a lot of the packs. But I also love building with CC, so I was thinking maybe there's a good way to kind of meet in the middle, not have that mini pack builds anymore, and maybe have more CC builds. I don't know. Where are you guys at on that? Let me know. But anyways, I'm gonna get back to the build. If you have any other questions on my opinions on all of those other things, obviously you can let me know in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer you. But right now it's just like an icky feeling, and I'm acknowledging that icky feeling, but I also am acknowledging how much I love the game and how much I've missed playing the game. So that's why I'm back and I'm posting. And I think Alice in Wonderland was kind of a good post, or good kind of build to come back with, or Alice in Wonderland inspired build, because like I said, I feel a lot like Alice right now. I've lost my muchness and I want to kind of gain it back. So for this build, like I said, I based it a lot on, I did watch the 1950s animation, but I'm not gonna lie, like halfway through it was doing my head in a bit, so I stopped, and then I watched the live action movie, which I think I mentioned in the beginning is one of my favorite movies. And so you'll see a lot of the little symbols is from the first live action movie. I don't think I've ever watched the second one, or not nearly as much as I've watched the first one. But as you can see in the front, this is not how, so usually with my building process, I will build it first and then I will record it and rebuild it. This is not anything like what I started out with. And so I was, like I said, searching for inspiration for the front of the build, for the garden areas and stuff, because I was more so inspired to do the interior. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do for the exterior, and I came up with this uh pattern here that you saw me do with terrain, which was really difficult because I sketching out the terrain was, it took me a minute to figure it out, get it straight, get it nice and neat, and look the way that I wanted it to look. Luckily though, you can kind of cover up the sides and the borders and so on with plants, and you can see I did a lot of that here. I didn't include a lot of the landscaping because there was a lot of landscaping, but you'll see that a lot of the plants that I used in that first little section that I showed, I used everywhere else. And then for the water, which I kind of spoke over, there is the scene in the movie where she has to step on faces to get to the queen's castle, the Queen of Hearts castle. And so I did kind of something like that in the water, which is why you saw me put the faces there. I think those faces are from live edit for Rent. I could be wrong. I really could be wrong about that. But yes, I wanted to kind of have some little, you know, callbacks to the movie and certain things in the movie. So you'll see a lot of it in the garden and then also in the inside as well. But like I said, I'm not gonna mention all of those things, because if you do pick up on something, I want to see like if there are any Alice in Wonderland fans in, you know, watching this video, how many things you kind of pick up that I put in here that is references to the movie. That's actually the word that I was looking for, references. And then I made this little outside area here, but the reason why I made this little circle area is because I'm actually going to place a teapot on there in a minute. But I first wanted to place down some roofing to kind of have a base for the teapot. And then I raised it up from the ground, but what I would recommend is not to raise it up from the ground, rather to raise it up from the ceiling, because if you are playing with walls down on the first floor, you'll see the teapot dangling in the air. I did correct that though, so you won't see the teapot dangling in the air right now. But yeah, what I'm doing now is I wanted the teapot to steam, and so I took one big chimney, put it in the middle of the teapot, sized it down, and then I took that other chimney, which is from Enchanted by Nature, and I rotated it so that it looks like, you know, the smoke is kind of coming out of the, what do you call that, a nozzle of the teapot. It's coming out of the nozzle of the teapot. And I'm going to do a similar thing on the other side as well. I would have put a fountain coming out of the teapot, but as you can see, it wouldn't really be going into anything. And also with the fountains in, or the emitters, the water emitters in game, they wouldn't extend that far down onto the ground. So the water would be like hitting the air, which is why I didn't do that. But in other places, I am going to be I put a lot of teapots everywhere, because that's also, I mean, a reference to the movie. So I put a lot of teapots around in this bowl with water coming out of it as well. So I will explain that when it comes up. Hopefully I do catch it when I do that. Also, I'm not set on the name for this tea house. So I was thinking maybe the Mad Tea House, so that it's like a play on Madhouse. And I think they reference many times that they are just like really mad. The Mad Hatter, and then obviously his little furry friends, the mouse and the hair. The hair is insane. Like there's something really very wrong with that hair. But the other option that I had is the Futterwacken tea house, because at the tea party they tell the Mad Hatter that he was the best Futterwacken, which is a dance that he does. And so he actually does the dance at the end of the movie when Alice defeats the Jabberwocky. So I was thinking the Futterwacken tea house or the Mad tea house. Let me know which one is better. I don't know which one I'll upload it as to the gallery, but I will include the name of the build as I uploaded it in the description, and all of the details related to the build in the description as well. And then I am using the stained glass window that we also got from the Tea Time Solarium kit. I hope I'm saying the kit name right, but I think it's right. I used that, and then I felt like maybe the flowers was a little bit too much, so I kind of put the normal ones in between. And then at the back here, I'm just going to be using the windows from Enchanted by Nature. For some reason, the windows took me a really long time for this build, so I included the front part of the build, not so much the back. This build just took me a long time. I was a lot like the Mad Hatter building this all over the place because my ideas, I didn't have any fixed ideas for a certain space. And so something would pop into my head and I would be like, okay, this would be good in this area. This would be good in this area. And then to not lose the idea, I would do it immediately. So if I give you a little bit of motion sickness, if it feels like I'm all over the place, it's because I was in trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the build, especially on the inside. I think more so on the inside, I was a little bit all over the place. But I obviously wanted to include a lot of clocks everywhere because that's also a huge reference in the movie. And then I got the one clock, I think, is from Get Together, the one on the tower that I'm busy with now. And then the one in the front is from Werewolves. And then I also used the lamp that we got from the Wonderland playroom kit in the little circle area on the other side, or on the left hand side, my left right now. And then I stuck a tree in it. I thought it kind of added to the quirkiness of the build, and I feel like it is something that you would kind of see in Wonderland. And also it lights up really beautifully at night. I think, as always, my builds at night are just so much better. I guess I did include some of the back part of me putting the windows on here, but there you can see I used a lot of the Enchanted by Nature windows, which I really wish we had for all wall heights, because sometimes I feel like depending on the wall height that you're using, the windows can look a little bit small. But luckily I only used medium wall height on the first level and then normal on the second and third. The second and third is just for the look of the build. There's nothing on the second and third floor at all. It was literally just for roofing and to give the build some height. And then I used this hat. Now, before I even built this, I came into the build and I checked if we had a hat in game, and luckily and to my surprise we did have a hat. I'm not sure which pack that comes from. I think it's a stuff pack, or it's with the Christmas pack, or the Christmas, you know, the thing that you get when you get the game. I think it may be from that pack. I'm really not sure which one it's from. And then over here I wanted there to be a teapot that was kind of pouring into the little teacup that you see there. That teacup I found in the live edit objects for the new kit. It comes with, so for the Wonderland playroom kit you get like a tea, like a normal tea, what do you call this, a tea tray. That's what I was thinking for, or trying to think of. And I don't think those mugs get dirty, and I hope so. I've been playing in this bowl. I really hope that they do not get dirty, because I use those mugs everywhere, and it would be really annoying if they did get dirty at one point. But I don't think they do, because there's actually no tea in it. The kids can just play pretend with that tea cup. But what I did there is I first was gonna go with the teapot with the flowers in it, but that was kind of on a diagonal, so when I was rotating it, it was making the rotation a little bit off center, I think, if you get what I mean. And so I didn't like that, and I removed it and I replaced it with the black teapot that we get with the base game. Then I placed the chimney pot into the front part of the nozzle of the teapot. And then I also placed a fountain in there, which is the fish fountain that we also get with the base game. And the reason why I use that one is because it has like it comes out as at an angle, and also it just went so nicely into the little teacup that I placed over there. And then now we are in the inside, and I wanted to do something quirky with the counters, and so I lined them up like this, and I thought they looked cool. And also in the movie there's this really important character called Absalom. He's a worm. Oh no, not a worm, a caterpillar, because he does turn into a butterfly at the end, I guess. And that's kind of what I was trying to make. I really thought that we had a worm toy in game. I don't know what I was referencing. Maybe it's a CC object that I'm confusing, you know, the in-game item with, but there was no kid's toy that was shaped as a worm. So I was like, how else am I gonna like incorporate this worm, not the worm, the caterpillar, for crying out loud. How else am I gonna incorporate that into the bowl? So I decided to do it with the counters. I think it turned out fine. I really like this hat light that we got with the kit. And oh yes, I was mentioning about the hat on the outside. If we didn't have a hat in game, I was not going to do this build at all, because then the outside wouldn't have made sense to me at least. And then on the other wall that I kind of glanced over, or not glanced over, transitioned to the final thing. The reason why is because that wall actually took me a really long time. I was looking for specific kinds of objects or wall art to put on the walls that kind of fit with the Wonderland aesthetic. And so I was going through all of the objects and trying to find out what I wanted. As you would have seen, I put that little, what do you call that thing? It's from Decor to the Max, the thing in the middle. And then I rotated the object so that it kind of looks like it's sucking the objects in. I don't know if it actually looks like that, but in my mind, it was looking like that. And then I use a lot of the base game paintings. I flip some of them upside down as well, because when she falls through the hole, I think she's upside down. And so you would have seen I also rotated a chair upside down. I wanted to include this branch here because whenever I build a cafe, I like to kind of cordon off the area that the barista would stand at. And so I wanted to incorporate the branch. And also you would have seen that the ceiling was grass, so my whole idea was to kind of put the ceiling on the floor and the floor on the ceiling, but I didn't actually like how the grass turned out, so instead I switched the ceiling later on with the paint. It's like a wall paint that, or not a ceiling paint that we got, it's a ceiling paint, I'm speaking way too fast, but a ceiling paint that we got with Horse Ranch, and it kind of looks like the sky, and I like that, so I put that in the sky. I also think when you watch the movie, the sky is very gloomy, like it's just so, it's not very Wonderland. It's kind of a little scary in the first live action movie, but there's still something so pretty about it. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I then included the sky wallpaper as well, and I felt like with the branch being on the ceiling and also the chair upside down, it kind of adds to the quirkiness of the build. Or the whole idea that things are not always as they seem, which I think she mentions in the beginning of the movie. And then I used a lot of the tables. Well, I kind of did a mix of the Tea Time Solarium kit and then the Wonderland kit. I thought they go well together, so I did the tables from the Tea Time Solarium kit, and then I did the chairs from the Wonderland kit because I like the key reference. And then you would have seen that I placed this branch light here, and then I placed the Cheshire cat on top of it. But while I was building, I moved the Cheshire cat, and there's mushrooms that I'm gonna flip upside down, and it actually snapped to the mushroom, and it also turned upside down. So I felt, okay, I'm gonna put the Cheshire cat on the upside down chair that's in the corner. So the Cheshire cat is no longer on that branch, but I did include the branch with the cat on it in the other section of this cafe. And then here I'm doing something that I did in my mushroom cafe build. I like building cafes for some reason. I feel it's because it's the only community lot that really functions without problems for me, and like lots of Sims come to. It's always so lively, and that's why I like building cafes. I did run this though as a small business venue. I think I'm going to include some clips. I didn't record them just yet, but I want to include some clips in the beginning of like the Mad Hatter running this establishment. And so I had to make it a small business venue so that he could own it as a cafe. And yeah, but anyways, what I was doing in the corner is I wanted the teapot to kind of be like watering the mushrooms. I don't know if you would water mushrooms in real life. I don't know anything about gardening. And so I wanted water to come out of it anyway. So I slanted the teapot to make it look as if it's dangling in the air. And then I put a waterfall again into the teapot so that it looked like it was coming out of the snout or the nozzle of the teapot as well. And then I just included a little seating area. I like a cafe to have a seating area or a place where you can sit. So that's one of two little couch seating areas, and then on the opposite of that I put the TV that we also got with the Wonderland playroom kit. Yeah, because it was the only art that actually fit the whole Alice in Wonderland movie, and so I was using it as a TV but also as art on the opposite wall. And then I also really wanted to have a wall where there were just teapots on them, and so which I'm doing that now. A lot of the teapots are in the decorations category, you can find it there, but some of the teapots here are in live edit or debug mode that I included here. They shouldn't give any problem, you know, with becoming dirty. But if ever you're dealing with an object that you really want to use, it's in the debug menu but it gets dirty after a while, you just shift click on it and you say reset object, and that should make the dirtiness or the smell that bothers Sims go away. And then you would have seen that I then placed all the teapots on it, and then I rotated the shelves because the game was not allowing me to first rotate the shelf and then place the teapots on there. I just hope that when you do download this from the gallery that the shelves will still be like that and the game will allow you to download it in that way. But yes, I wanted it to be slanted so that it looks like it's kind of falling around a little bit. And then I also included a bench that I also slanted just under that wall with the teapots. I didn't show it here, and also did not show the bathrooms because the bathrooms is in such a small area, but you know where the two doors are at the moment, those are two bathrooms. So it was just in such a small area, the camera was bouncing everywhere, and I just felt like the clips was just not good enough for me to include in this video, so I did not include that. And then here I was running out of things to put in the corner. I did later kind of find something that I forgot from the movie that I thought was really important that I could have included in this corner, but then I had already gone through the whole effort of making this teacup lamp, my own version of a teacup lamp. I used the other one so many times, I just wanted something different, you know. So I then did that with the teacups, rotated them just a little bit, and then I placed this branch in there. I like how the branch comes out at the bottom, the base of it, and yeah, I thought it looked kind of cool. And then when I rotated the chair on the ceiling, I also included a table with a tea set on it, and then here is where I placed down the TV. I wasn't in love with the swatches. I know that this is a kid's kit, but I was a little bit annoyed by how you know, kid-like it looked. Kid-like it, that's, I don't think that makes sense, but I was hoping that the animations would have been a little bit better, but it still worked out. Like, for example, there's this wall art that we got. It's almost like a sticker that you put on the wall. I did not love the animation for that. There's also a door, a small door that comes with that stickers, and I just didn't like how flat it looks, so I actually used the small door that we got from Enchanted by Nature, and I put that against the wall to kind of symbolize the door that she goes through in the beginning to get into Wonderland. Yeah, and then here I had this big you know, other area, and I wanted to include a long table so that it looks like what they have at the tea party, in the animation, and then also in, I think in the second movie they have a little bit of a more organized tea party from the clips that I saw. But in the first live action movie, that tea party is a mess. It is so chaotic, it looks chaotic. They're surrounded by dead plants. Nothing about it is as nice as it is here at the moment. But I didn't want to do anything messy like that because I still wanted this place to be usable for your Sims. Yeah, so that's why I decided to have a little bit of a cleaner version for this tea party over here. I thought it was also a good venue if you wanted to have like birthday parties and stuff, that you could have this section then to have a little birthday party or so on. This is a very niche thing. I built it in, I actually forgot to mention this in the beginning, but I built it in inner screen on the water something lot, which is the lot with only the pond on it. I'm a little bit out of practice. Usually I start my videos saying where I built it, what the size of the lot is, but I've forgotten about that. But it is a 40 by 30 lot though that I built this on. And yeah, I just included some more tea sets on. I love this. Is my favorite tea set in this game at the moment. This is from the Tea Time Solarium kit. I love the one with the pink with the flowers and also the blue version. So I used that, and then I just used this tray, this cake tray from the base game. Those plates are from Snowy Escape, and then these atrocious cake stands from the Tea Time Solarium kit. Like, whoever made those should be embarrassed. They are so ugly. They do not look. And I was really so excited when I saw the Tea Time Solarium kit because I wanted those cake stands. Usually I will use CC versions of cake stands so that I can include them in bakery bowls, in cafe bowls, and so on. And I was so excited that I would not need to, you know, tap into my CC for that anymore. And then I looked at the object in game, and it was the ugliest cake stand ever. Yeah, like, I don't even know what else to say about it. They do not look like cakes. I don't know what they are, but if you stand from afar, they look like cake stands. So just don't go too close to them, is the whole idea with that, I guess. And then yeah, I wanted to include another seating area by the fireplace. I obviously needed to include a fireplace somewhere else if I wanted the teapots to steam on the outside. So I decided to include it here, and then include a little seating area and some more tea trays. And the mat that I have right there, I replaced it with one from Enchanted by Nature, because there's one with a dragon on it that kind of looks like the Jabberwocky that she slays at the end of the movie. So I included that here. And then I also removed the green couch with a little ottoman to put something else down there that I had forgotten about, but that I picked up when I rewatched the movie just before I'm making this voiceover. And so yeah, I guess when you download the build you can see what it is. I guess this build is very niche, which is what I was gonna say when I was speaking about the birthday parties. This is a very niche build. You will only really get it if you like Alice in Wonderland, and also if you actually play with, I think it's more so suited for occults. I don't know if it would fit in any other world other than Inner Screen or maybe Glimmerbrook. So I know that this is not going to be for everyone, but I really enjoy building things like this. I enjoy it more than building something normal, like a normal house. So I think that my content mostly will be geared towards building things like this. And then I'll build, you know, like the normal house here and there. And then also you would have seen that I included in the entrance the statue that I found. It kind of looks like the Mad Hatter. And I found a version that came with the businesses and hobbies, which is the version that kind of the sketchy art dealer sells to you with colorful hats. So I used that one over there, but I kind of wanted to use something different here. So I made it with a statue that we got from Modern Lux, and then I put the hat on it. But yes, I think that is all for this build. Let me know how many things you picked up, and if you see the build afterwards, what else you picked up that I put in here. I hope you've enjoyed this video. You can find this build under SimWithMishka or hashtag SimWithMishka on the gallery. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.